Russia-Ukraine news. Understanding a mafia state in the era of Putin and Trump. Our group is not a gang. We are not a criminal gang. Unlike the protagonists of Mario Puzo's The Godfather, we aren't interested in vengeance. We have a nation here. The land of the law. Russian TV host Vladimir Solovyov made those accusations, insisting that the Kremlin was innocent of killing Yevgeny Prigozhin in an airplane explosion. The French proverb, qui s'excuse, s'accuse, is beautifully illustrated by Solovyov's remarks. To put it another way, he who excuses himself, accuses himself. The pro-Kremlin propagandist is fully aware that Prigozhin's murder looked and felt like a mob hit. Vladimir Putin is committed to the ethos of the Mafia. Those who commit the sins of betrayal and disloyalty will never be forgiven. As a result, the Kremlin has dispatched assassins across Europe in search of Russian spies who have defected. Russian troops fighting in Ukraine were led by Prigozhin, also known as Putin's chef, who was in charge of the Wagner militia. But by betraying Putin in June, he effectively sealed his own fate. Everyone who has seen a movie about the Mafia knows that the Don looks weak if he doesn't exact his revenge. Prigozhin lived for another 2 months after his rebellion before he was killed. However, Don Corleone says in The Godfather, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." It's not just a literary device to say that Russia operates like a mafia state. Catherine Belton, Putin's biographer, has demonstrated that as St. Petersburg's deputy mayor in the 1990s, Putin fostered connections with the city's criminal underworld. Prigozhin served a prison sentence of nearly 10 years. Putin spent many years in the Russian intelligence services, which have long had ties to organized crime due to the latter's expertise in smuggling, money laundering, and murder. Viktor Bout, an arms dealer, alleged money launderer, and former Soviet military officer, was arrested in 2008 following a lengthy operation by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. In a prisoner swap with the United States, Russia chose to free Bout. Prigozhin's Wagner Group's operations in Africa, conducted through a web of front companies, muddied the lines between legitimate business, criminal enterprise, and the Russian government. The demands of the conflict in Ukraine have only served to blur those boundaries further. Russia's oil exports and technology imports have been severely hampered by Western sanctions. Because of this, Russia has more reason to cooperate with criminal organizations that specialize in nefarious commerce and smuggling. For all that, it's worth noting that the day after Prigozhin was murdered, a former U.S. president was indicted in Georgia under the state's version of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, a law specifically designed to go after the mafia. Donald Trump will have his day in court, where the merits of the charges against him will be weighed. Whatever happens in that regard, however, it is generally accepted that Trump has long displayed the behavior and attitudes of a mob boss. When speaking, he occasionally sounds like a mobster, which is to be expected from a man who made his fortune in New York construction before expanding into Atlantic City casinos. Roy Cohn, a lawyer who represented many of New York City's crime families, was a pivotal figure in Trump's formative years. Trump famously lamented the absence of such a figure to represent him as his legal troubles escalated during his presidency. After Trump's election, he had dinner with his first FBI director, James Comey, in the White House, where the president reportedly said, "I need loyalty. Please be loyal to me." Comey compared Trump to mafia bosses he had encountered in his law enforcement career, writing, "The demand was like Sammy the Bull's Cosa Nostra induction ceremony." Trump, like Sammy the Bull and Putin, places a premium on personal loyalty. Both bosses delight in and even foster intra-office rivalries. As a result, the leader becomes the ultimate arbiter of conflicts and the big man, whose favor is sought after by all. When dealing with foreign leaders like Kim Jong-un in North Korea, Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Turkey, and Vladimir Putin in Russia, Trump has sometimes acted as if he were negotiating with rival godfathers. To be clear, I am not trying to add to the Russian national pastime of whataboutism with my Trump-Putin comparison. It's possible that the two men have similar natural tendencies and habits. However, the systems in which they function are drastically different. Putin's involvement in the murder of Yevgeny Prigozhin, or any other crimes he may have committed, has absolutely no chance of being investigated in today's Russia. Without impartial prosecutors, no evidence that could lead to the president's conviction will be gathered. In contrast, Trump is being made to answer for his actions. There's a good chance he'll get some time behind bars, though I have a feeling President Biden will pardon him in the end. Trump can continue to make his case and run for president in the meantime. The distinction is easily seen. As Solovyov erroneously labeled Russia, the United States can now call itself a nation of laws. Russia, alas, has become a mafia state in its own right.